Hi there! Welcome to my home and to my kitchen. My name's Chanda Strozza and I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Well, today I'm going to be making for you a side dish using Philadelphia cream cheese. The dish that I chose to make for you today is a cheesy sausage mashed potato bake. So let's get started. Okay, so in this bowl I have 6 medium potatoes that I have already peeled and cubed and boiled until they're fork tender. So to my potatoes, I am going to want to add a couple of ingredients. The first ingredient that I want to add is 8 ounces of chive and onion Philadelphia cream cheese. Okay, so let's go ahead and get our cream cheese into our potatoes. And this cream cheese is so nice and creamy, and it has wonderful flavors to it. The chive and the onion. Now, if you want to use plain cream cheese, you certainly can, but I like the chive and onion. Alright, now to this, I'm going to add about 1/4 cup of milk. So we'll just go ahead and add that. And then we're going to add a little bit of salt and pepper, just to taste, maybe about a teaspoon, teaspoon and a half. Okay, so there's our salt. And let's add our pepper. Okay, now what we're going to want to do is we're going to mix our potatoes. And so let's go ahead and get started on that. Okay, so our potatoes are creamed and well blended and mixed together with our Philadelphia chive and onion cream cheese. And you can see the red skins of the potatoes in our bowl, as I had mentioned earlier. Now to these potatoes, I am going to add 1 tablespoon of butter. And I'm adding the butter after I have already creamed the potatoes, just because I think it gives it a nice creamier texture, and I just feel that the butter incorporates better once you mix it in or fold it in after the potatoes. Okay, so it's melting very nicely since our potatoes are still very warm. Now, how I came about this recipe, as my father-in-law came to visit us last year around Christmas time, and I was a newlywed at the time, and so being his daughter-in-law, I wanted to impress him. And so I planned to make breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day. And one of the lunches that I prepared was a homemade pulled pork barbecue sandwich. And I wanted to come up with like a really fun side and something different. And so I started looking around my house to see what ingredients I had available. And I had some sausage for breakfast the next morning, and I had potatoes, and I had cream cheese. I always have cream cheese either in the freezer or the refrigerator. So I started thinking about, what can I do with these ingredients? And I came up with this cheesy sausage mashed potato bake. And needless to say, it was a hit. And I hope I impressed my father-in-law. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to head over to the stove, because on the stove I have, sticking to there, I have our vegetable mixture and our sausage mixture. Now, I have already cooked 1 pound of sausage. And then I also have here, I have 8 ounces of mushrooms and about 1/2 of a medium onion chopped. To that I added a teaspoon of parsley and a teaspoon of oregano, and I sauteed it in 1 tablespoon of butter and 1 tablespoon of olive oil. So our vegetables are cooked, the onions are nice and translucent, and our mushrooms have wilted, so everything's ready to go. I'm just going to add our vegetables and add our sausage into this bowl, and then we'll head back over to the table to start layering. Okay, so let's go ahead and these vegetables smell so wonderful. Now, when I made this dish for my father-in-law, I omitted the onions. I'm sorry, not the onions. The mushrooms, because he does not like mushrooms, and so I didn't want to get off on a bad note with them. So I love mushrooms, so I'm adding them to my dish. And the recipe that I created does call for mushrooms. But if you don't like them, you don't have to add them. I personally love them. Okay, so let's go ahead and get layering. I'm just going to mix our onions and mushrooms and our sausage together. Okay, so we have that ready to go. Now I have 8 ounces of Kraft sharp cheddar cheese, which I shredded myself. And this is the bowl that we're going to use to do our layering. So what I want to do first is I'm going to add a layer of the vegetables. And actually I'm going to add half of these vegetables in here. So let's just go ahead and just put a little more. Okay, that should be about half. And we're just going to cover the bottom of our dish. Okay, so we're just going to layer the bottom of our dish with our mixture. And you know, actually, let me grab a different spoon. Sometimes these potatoes, well not sometimes, all the time, these potatoes stick to the wooden spoon, so I'm going to use a metal spoon instead. Make it a little bit easier. Okay, so let's go ahead and put half of our potato mixture on. So it makes it easy, half and half. Oh my gosh, that's a big one. All right. I will use this to get this off. Now this is such an easy dish, and the flavors of the meats and the vegetables and the potatoes, they come together very nicely in this dish. Now the meat and the vegetables are going to stick to these potatoes a little bit. That's okay. If you wanted to, you can always spray the back of your spoon with a nonstick cooking spray. I probably should have done that. But it's going to taste just as wonderful. Okay, now we're going to put half of our cheddar cheese on. So let's go ahead and sprinkle that on. Just get some nice even layers going on. And then we'll add the rest of our vegetables. Now, as I had mentioned, I made this dish with a barbecue pulled pork, but I think it would go wonderfully with a steak. Why not? Steak and potatoes and mushrooms, I think that combination goes together great. Another thing you can do, now I'm making this in a large casserole dish. We're just going to put the rest of our potatoes on top. I'm making this in a large casserole dish, but you may want to make it in individual ramekins. If you're having a sit-down dinner party, and let's say you are preparing a nice steak for the evening, if you want to go ahead and do the same layering that I'm doing in my large casserole dish, you can do that in little individual ramekins and go ahead and put that on your plate with your vegetables and your steak, and everybody can have their own little individual servings. So I think that sounds wonderful too. Okay, so we have pulled our casserole out of the oven. It's been in there for about 10 minutes. You can see the cheeses are nice and bubbly. So let's go ahead and spoon some of that into our serving bowl. See all those mushrooms and the layers. Now, when I'm serving my dishes, I don't want my guests to have to guess what's in the dish. So I'm going to go ahead and sprinkle a little bit more sausage on top, some of our cheddar cheese, and our chives. Don't forget that we use the chive and onion Philadelphia cream cheese. Okay, so there you are. Cheesy sausage mashed potato bake. So here's to happy endings. And until next time, God bless and enjoy.